since. But it could have ended up differently, and perhaps I'd never been able to ride a bike again. I was only 13 or 14 when I nearly lost my finger, but the biggest scare of my life came 12 months or so later, when Dad and I went out in his Holden Rodeo pickup truck to spend the day on our motocross bikes in the bush. In some Australian states, you can get a learner driving licence when you are 15, and as long as there is someone qualified in the vehicle with you, you can drive. We spent all day at Lancelin, a small town at the end of State Route 60, Wanneroo Road, where we could ride the bikes up and down the sand dunes. On the way back, with me driving, Dad felt sleepy, and then fell asleep, which you are not supposed to do if you are with a learner driver. A couple of times I momentarily closed my eyes, which I'm sure we have all done while driving when tired. With Dad still out, I started to fall asleep and put the window down in an effort to stay awake. The road was just a single carriageway each way, a really dangerous highway that must have accounted for the deaths of around 30 people a year. The next thing was that I must have fallen asleep, for I drove onto the wrong side of the road and then suddenly woke up to see another car coming straight for us. I yanked the wheel full lock to the left and then back to the right, hit the curb, and somehow that took the utility vehicle, back to the right side of the road. In Australia, like the UK, they drive on the left. I still have no idea how the two vehicles avoided each other, but I do know that we came close to dying. I'm sure that if my eyes had stayed closed for another fraction of a second, the result would have been a head-on smash, and none of us would have walked away alive. After that, I was so scared that I didn't ask to drive again for a month or more, having come closer to death than I have ever been. That near miss taught me not to drive when I'm too tired, and that it is something I can always tell the young kids to remember when they get behind the wheels of their vans on the way home after a Speedway meeting. In fact, I like to think that I can use all my life experiences to help them remain focused at all times, whether they are on or off the track. When it comes to racing, I have been loyal to all the teams I have ridden for, and have only ever left any of them for specific and valid reasons. In England, I rode for Scunthorpe, Rye House, and Wolverhampton, only leaving to join a side in a higher league to progress my career. In Poland, I've ridden for just 3 clubs: Częstochowa, Gniezno, and Wrocław. I only left Częstochowa because they wanted to use a Polish junior who crashed a lot, and if he missed meetings, my average was too high for me to be allowed to replace him. They loaned me out to Gniezno in the first league for a season. But that didn't end very well because the two teams raced each other in the 2011 relegation promotion playoff. And I had an awful meeting in the first leg, only scoring 4 points. As if that wasn't enough, someone at Gniezno, who isn't at the club any longer, accused me of deliberately riding badly because I was a Częstochowa rider and only on loan. I didn't ride in the second leg after being diagnosed with flu, and I also missed the Elite League Riders final that same weekend. When Częstochowa couldn't fit me in the following season, I moved to Wrocław, and I've now been there 9 years. I've had more clubs, 5 in Sweden, but again, there have always been good reasons for leaving. Vargana and I fell out over money. I had too high an average to go back to Decana. I really enjoyed my time at Vetlanda, but it is a really unique track, and I got a little bored with it. And also, a very good friend of mine, Bossa Vibrand, finished working with the club. I would have stayed a long time at Marsana, but there were money issues. And I've been at Indianurna for 2 seasons. They treat me well. They pay me every week and there's no reason to leave. If you find a club you are happy at, why change every year? As to the real me, I know I'm outspoken, and that this can rub some people up the wrong way. I don't hide my feelings, but I'm always honest. Although quite often that lands me in trouble. And I know that some people think I'm arrogant, self-centered, and selfish. Equally, sometimes I don't feel that I'm appreciated in England, especially because I don't ride here anymore, as I will explain in this book. To me,